Look at you. Look at you being a little cat, attacking your tail. You're getting the drugs. There's a whole bunch of drugs left there. So, okay. How you feeling? Yeah, you ready to do this? Okay. Here we go. There it is. We're up. And the fat cat's coming. Everybody's here. Oh, boy. Hey, everyone. Here's some problem. Episode number 543. Shiny Shirt Week. Day 10. Oh, it is so shiny. Don't attack the shiny shirt, man. Let go. Okay? Can't get to the mouse now. So GameStop should have had a hell of a gamma today. Close to 10 million shares were in the money, and 8 million shares traded. And the stock went all day long. Are you going to come up here, big boy? Are you going to come join us? Is that what's happening? Or are you going to go up there? Everyone's trying to distract me today. That isn't what should happen. Like, just how much of the GME trading went to dark pools today? Because traditionally, we have about 4 million shares go in the money. Around 40 million shares trade the following Monday to make up for it. And there's the fat boy. Okay, cattail karaoke. Oh, God dang, it's going to stand in the way of everything. Everything's just pure chaos. There's 3 animals is too many animals. Let's just put it that way. And when we have like 8 million shares go in the money, we've had like 280 million shares trade on that following Monday. So having 8 million shares trade when 10 million shares are due doesn't make any sense mathematically, doesn't make any sense historically. It is wide proof that shenanigans are happening. We are in the midst of Shenanigans Central, and that the stock should be having like record volumes right now, and nothing. What the heck? Is it just to try and kill everybody so they get out of their options and they go, oh, we'll deal with it tomorrow? But it doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't make no sense whatsoever. If you guys have any answers, I don't know. Do you, little kitten? No, nothing? Okay, you're useless. So. So. Petting the cat. Get distracted. And turn off the intro. Because if I pet the cat too long, I will not remember to turn off the intro. And then we'll be in double intro land. And then Houston goes, fuck you, little fat guy. Yeah. The little fat boy. So, hit me. What do you got? What's happening? Walt the Man in the Middle. Primero. First Productions first. Nope. Salcalbo segundo. First Productions. Dang it. Jimmy D. Balls. Adam Davey, Houston. Can you explain the Max Payne theory in detail? I've tried to Google it, but it's not clear to me. Max Payne has to do with where option writers want the price to fall so that they are exactly between the number of puts in the money and the number of calls in the money. So, like, if it swings really far to one side and you put a whole bunch of call options in the money, then they have to go out in the market and they have to find millions of shares that they do not own because they sold a whole bunch of options negative, right? And if too many puts go in the money, then they have to spend a whole bunch of money buying a whole bunch of shares they never wanted to buy at prices higher than the market. So you have this little happy zone. Let's see if we can. I can pull up. Usually I have a graph on some of the things here. Of course, I don't have Chrome open yet, so I'm just wait a moment here because I'm ill prepared. We'll just do the GME Max Payne, and I think Swaggy. Is that one has the graph? Yeah, here we go. Okay. Come on, give it to me. Give it to me. Show up. Don't think, just do. Are you doing? There you go. Okay, so we've got calls on one side, puts on the other, right? So the Max Payne zone is right in here. And this one, the numbers do not make any sense here. We've got 589. That These numbers don't make any sense. Okay, we're going to find one that has actual numbers that make sense and not something that's $595 because that is definitely not what Max Payne is going to be. So let's do this one. Do you have a graph for me? Do you show the graph? You show a chart. Do you show a graph? Nope. I want to see the... Oh, there we go. Okay, this is much better. Okay. So here's their graph for Max Payne. Of course, there's no numbers attached to this, so they did an absolute... How come no one can make a good graph slash... Okay. So basically what it is say these are a whole bunch of call options and these are a whole bunch of puts. So if the stock price goes down too far, say, I don't know where this would be, like $18 or something, right? Then they have to buy probably hundreds of thousands or millions of shares from the people who purchase those put options. And if the stock price goes flying, goes up to like $50, they may have to buy like 30 million shares to fulfill those contracts. So Max Payne is that happy little spot in the middle of both those two graphs where the options writers pay out the least amount of money and they make the most off of selling all those contracts on either side. So that's the simple reasoning. So most even keel trading weeks, your stock will fall right around Max Payne. What we've had for 2 weeks in a row now is we're falling, $4 to $6 above Max Payne, and they're having to go out in the market and purchase shares. And that usually results in gamma the next Monday, which causes the next Friday to be higher, which causes gamma, which causes the next Friday to be higher. And this is basically what happened to NVIDIA. It was that NVIDIA has been on a gamma run for like 2 years now. That every Friday it finishes higher than the previous Friday, putting more options in the money, causing the price to go higher. And it just is like a self-fulfilling prophecy week after week after week after week. We would love to have that happen for GameStop because we're invested in GameStop and it means more money for us. But for some reason, the gamma never happened. Now, there's 2 reasons why the gamma never would happen. Oh, I guess 3 reasons why the gamma never would happen. Reason number 1, for some reason, they bought all the shares they needed and Max Payne was a lie. They're like, on Friday, they're like, well, shit, I guess we'll just buy all the shares we need and we'll have that. We don't have to worry about it Monday. They never do that. They always hope to short it down if they can, leading up to close, and Max Payne doesn't really change. Number 2, they funneled everything through dark pools, and they did all the purchases of dark pools today from probably fake shares that never existed, and they fulfilled their obligations that way. Like they, borrowed from BlackRock or something to fulfill all those obligations. Very likely. Or 3, they purposely just ignored everything to hopefully kill everyone's options, and then tomorrow, when they get to T+2, when they basically defaulted on their obligations, then they go in the market and buy it all. Possible. So that's the only 3 ways I can think about that they avoided having tens of millions or possibly hundreds of millions of shares trade today. And your guess is as good as mine as to what the actual answer is, because I don't know. I don't know. Do you know, stupid little kitten? No, you don't know anything except for attack my hands and make them bleed constantly. So, Adam Davey, Houston. Oh, we just did that one. Alex Bishop says, hi, everyone. Colin, options are still T+2 delivery, aren't they? No, they moved to T+1 this summer. So they are T+1 now. So they should have had to go and get everything together in order to make good on their share obligations today. Rose Moon, call me Garfield. The way I hate Mondays. Medical offices are so busy today. Because everyone gets hurt and injured over the weekend, and then they got to show up Monday because they don't want to pay the urgent care or emergency care cost. Yeah. Louie's got some graphs and some pictures. Frozen State Productions, IEP hammered down, so I started a position in my Roth for 20 units. There you go. I wonder if IEP, if they're actually playing the shorts by like, okay, I'll go from $2 a quarter to $1 a quarter, 50 cents a quarter, and the shorts are like, woo-ha-ha, we got them right where we want them, or if really the shorts are right and they don't have the ability to pay out the way they have been in the past. There's two options on that one. You're still making 20% a year or more off of your IEP dividends, so it's still a sound investment. Turkish, where's the money with Yuskowski? Spirit Airline went tits up, going through similar process of BBY. Any connections? So ICANN bought JetBlue. They were talking about buying Spirit, and lots of rumors about that. And then no one saved Spirit. Spirit Airlines is the worst airline you'll ever fly anywhere ever. It is. You may as well just like take a 10-penny nail and hammer it into your brain and like wiggle it around and scoop out your frontal lobe, because you weren't using it if you flew on Spirit Airlines a second time. Spirit Airlines is one of those airlines that they get a customer once and then never again. You don't find people like racking up tons of miles on Spirit Airlines, like, oh man, I got 1 million frequent flyer miles in Spirit. Everyone we talk to is like, I flew Spirit once and I am forever scarred from that experience. Pay the $30 extra to fly another airline. Your life is too short to have to deal with what Spirit Airlines gives you. I have purchased tickets on Spirit Airlines twice, but only flew one time. The second time I flew Spirit Airlines was during COVID-ish, and I had to rent a car. And so I made a rental appointment. I went to the airport to pick it up, and they wouldn't rent it to me because I was a Washington resident. And I was like, this doesn't make any sense. I need to rent a car. I have, like, my mom got hip surgery. She can't get into my truck. I got to put her in a car. And the people were like, well, if you have an outgoing flight, we can rent a car to you. And so I went on Spirit Airlines and I bought a ticket to Las Vegas for $19, and I used that as proof that I only needed the car for one day. I was actually going to return the car, and then they let me rent the car. So that was the second time I ever used Spirit Airlines. So I guess Spirit Airlines does have a market for people trying to rent cars in their home communities, but for some reason all the rules and regulations now make it so you can't rent a car, because too many people stole cars, I guess, during COVID, and there you have it. So yeah, I bought tickets on Spirit twice. Never again, unless I have to rent a car again. Cameron Mirza, monkey treat please. What's going on with SMCI? Are they going down? SCMI is going down so hard, and they're probably going to bring down NVIDIA with it. Monkey butt. Someone paid good money. Want a pig ear? Do a pig ear? Yeah? Cameron Mirza. Oh, it's a big one. Look how big that is. Look how big that is. Get there. Get that thing. Oh, yeah. Oh, you dropped it. Pick it up. Okay. Whoa, sticky pig ears. Okay, up into the pig ear zone. All right. Listen for the crunches. SMCI. Did they get their 10K filed today? I know they're given a leeway. SMCI 10K. Okay, August 10K. Supermicro 10K annual. Looks like deadlines are doing 10K filing. So they didn't file their one on September 29th. Delay from 10K filing. Okay, that was new deadline September 29th. Okay, they didn't file that one. So that was November 16th, saying that they were 60 days late and they're given one more day. As far as I know, I don't see anything popping up here. I can look at the SEC, see if on the Edgar here, and see if anything's popping up. AK 10K reports. Notification of inability to file Form 10Q or 10QSB. 10K notification, failure to inability to file. So their 10Ks and their 10Qs have not been filed. All they've done is they filed two things saying that they're not going to file them. Okay. They did file an AK. Certifying that their accountant was like, peace. But no 10Q, no 10K. Yeah, Supermicro's toast. So as we explained before, Supermicro, they took giant loans from NVIDIA. NVIDIA's like, please take our money. And man, it's crunchy. Please take our money and then use that money to buy computer chips from us. And SMCI is like, we'll take hundreds of millions of dollars. So they took the money, they bought a bunch of chips from NVIDIA. Then they took those chips and they held them as collateral, and they borrowed more money to then purchase more chips that then held as collateral to borrow more money to then purchase more chips, which is held as collateral to borrow more money. And they just kept this going on for the last couple of years. This is what Enron was doing in the energy futures market, was that they were lending money to subsidiaries or affiliates or, kind of satellite companies. Those companies would then purchase energy futures from Enron. Then they would hold those energy futures as collateral and borrow more money to purchase more energy futures from Enron. And they basically took Enron from like $1 billion a year to $100 billion a year to zero with that strategy. It's a great flash in the pan scam. Make someone a bunch of money, but in the end, everyone ends up owing everything, and then they're toast. NVIDIA is not helping on this. So NVIDIA, about 3-4 months ago, introduced the next generation of AI chips. These GPUs that process AI better than anyone. They're like, hey, new generation AI chips, here we go. And so SMCI and all the other companies that are like them bought those chips held as collateral. And then, like last week, NVIDIA's like, we have a new generation. And these companies are like, wait a minute. Now these chips are worthless because a new generation's coming out. Yes. So then the collateral they have for all the money they borrowed is not worth anything. So now they're going to owe cash back to those banks because their collateral's not worth it. Basically, they're not meeting margin requirements. And it's going to be a giant cascading waterfall. Generally, you wait a year or two before you introduce a new generation of chips. You can't be doing it in 3 or 4 months. And on top of that, apparently these chips are overheating like crazy, and they're not working very well, so they're worthless to begin with. Yeah, so as SMCI, NVIDIA, that whole thing is going to come down eventually. It's just going to matter. It's an if, not a if, but when type situation. It's an unsustainable pyramid scheme, basically. And here we sit, waiting for everything to just rain down hellfire. Jimmy D. Houston, what happens to our student loans if they get rid of the Department of Education? Yeah, like what's the plan on that? If there's no one to pay my student loans to, then where do they go? Right? I don't know, Jimmy. I don't think they have an answer for that. I really don't think they have an answer for that. The best thing Biden could do is just cancel all student loans, zero them out before the courts have a chance to do anything. You just file that executive order. 10 minutes later, you delete everything from the files and you erase the complete history out of the computers of the Department of Education. And then no one owes student loans. And fuck you, Donald Trump. Just do it, Biden. You're 100 years old. You may as well go out in a blaze of glory, right? So do it. Just do it. Do it. Do it. Because then the Trump administration is like, no, undo. Everything's just gone. The records are gone. There's just no way. And then everything get tied up in the courts forever. You're like, hey, I don't owe anything. I was forgiven. I have this paperwork right here showing that I was forgiven. So if the government tries to come after you, you can at least fight in your local courts on that one. So, yeah, I say do that. Monkey, hey, don't stop it. Whatever you're doing, just stop. All right, you get up here. Come on, get up there. Get up there. Creatures. At least now the kitten is like totally asleep and lovely. Multiman Mills Segundo. Robert Hurt. With Gensler out, maybe that helps our case, or just more hopium? Hopium. Gensler wasn't the most effective SEC person in the entire world, but he's more effective than anything Donald Trump will put in there. Everyone who believes that somehow Donald Trump is going to tackle the shorts and get them, he's not. He's not going to do shit because he believes in fraud, graft, grift, schemes, cons. Like that's what he does. And so he'll put somebody in the SEC who is going to look the other way on everything. Everything. So it's going to be one of the most ineffective heads of the SEC in history is who's going to be in there. And because that's what happened the last time around. And he rewarded that guy by making him the Southern District of New York attorney. So he's AUSA for Southern District of New York. And yeah, so like that's what he does. He will never crack down on crime. He won't. Crime went up during his administration. He goes away, crime goes down, right? We took crime down from 1993, kept going down until 2017, and it started going up again. And then Biden gets in office and crime starts going back down. Because Trump does not believe in enforcing crimes. If he did, crime would go down when he was in office. But it doesn't. He's going to put some, limp noodle in the SEC, and then more crimes are going to happen. So, Gary Gensler could have done a lot differently, but we will look back at Gary Gensler and be like, oh, those were the days when the status quo did nothing. Versus when the government enabled the fraudsters, just like all the other times. Kelly Reed. Shorts now going long. As the old DD foretold, this may lead to shorts eating one another. Going to be interesting to see who closes their shorts first. One could hope, and yet we did not have the volumes we should have today. So, Alex Bishop. Today I argued with a woman Trump supporter on TikTok about the importance of regulations. She somehow stopped replying in the end. That was a good W. They want like, hey, let's do something about this stuff. But we're going to get rid of regulations. How do you think we do things about regulations? Basically, behind every regulation generally is a dead body. Right? You can complain about, oh, when I built my house, it make me do all this stuff. Yes, because people died. They got electrocuted because he put the electrical box in the shower. Right? Like, there's just simple things. You have to make sure the studs are this far apart because if you make them further apart, the wall doesn't have shear strength and it collapses in a stiff breeze. You want to make sure your roof has this type of tile or tar paper or whatever. Like in Miami-Dade County, you've got certain rules on how you build a house after Hurricane Andrew because people died. Their houses went crunch. So you don't see regular little stick-built houses in Miami. These things are like fortresses when they get built. So they're very expensive to build, but people don't die. Here in Seattle, you have to make sure that, if an earthquake happens, everyone's not gonna get crushed under a whole bunch of loose masonry. So if you go through downtown Seattle, through the old quarter in Pioneer Square, you'll see these round plates with nuts in them, and it's these giant cables that run through the buildings. They basically hold it together, so if a giant earthquake happens, all the masonry doesn't collapse and everyone die inside. So you have to retrofit these buildings. Same thing with the financial markets. You create things like Glass-Steagall because during the Great Depression, you had people giving their money to banks. The banks would then gamble it away in the stock market. And when the stock market collapsed, everyone who gave the deposits had nothing. So in order to guarantee that folks could have their money be safe in a bank, you told the banks no more gambling away their money in the stock market. And then we took Glass-Steagall away. Gary Gensler was behind that, so that's one shitty thing he did for sure. And now the banks are gambling everyone's money away. You look at Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo shut down home mortgages, car loans, personal loans, business loans, credit cards. All they're doing is gambling people's money away in the stock market right now. There's no other way they could be making money off of that because they're not lending the money like the original bank model is. So you need these regulations in place, and you need people who are going to enforce them. So if you talk about, I have all these regulations, but then you put someone in the SEC who's going to, play dope wars on their Palm Pilot all day long and never fulfill any investigative hirings and, 20,000 jobs go unfulfilled, and then no one investigates any crimes. And so then when the shit hits the fan, your guy's going to look up from his Palm Pilot and go, oh well, right? Which is the Bush administration. That's basically what the Bush administration had in 2008 was all the regulators went, oh, that's what I was supposed to be doing the entire time. So yeah, having those regulations, having people enforce them are a good thing, right? I mean, they like what you'll get in a discussion with somebody about gun laws, and someone from right will be like, well, we already have 20,000 gun laws on the books. Why don't we just, regulate the ones we have, right? Enforce the laws we have. Yes, why don't we? Well, from 2001 all the way through the Obama administration, we had no nominated and approved head of the ATF. Because every time we tried to present someone, the Senate would filibuster, and so we had no nominated cabinet-level position head at the ATF, the Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms. So we had like interims running this thing the entire time. So yes, why don't we enforce them? Because they make it so we can't enforce the laws we have. That's the name of the game. So, Frozen State Productions. I was expecting a small GME bump, and it was a micro bump. My calls were destroyed. Like Rob and Kim Kioski said, you will have losses. Luckily, I lost luckily, I lost MCCM. I can't say that. MSMCI profits. So I'm even overall. There you go. My calls got absolutely vaporized today. It makes no sense. But that's the life of we gamblers. Javier Martinez moved my Wells Fargo money to credit union. I think when the next big recession hits, Wells Fargo, Citi, and Bank of America are the three big banks that are most likely to get vaporized. Of those three, Bank of America stands the best chance of being rescued because of their Merrill Lynch connections. That's about it. Wells Fargo, they sold off their brokerage services, so they don't have that anymore. And Citi just seems like a giant mess at all levels. I'm stuck with a regular bank because there is no community bank anywhere near me. A credit union anywhere near me. We used to have like 3 credit unions in my community, and they've all disappeared. So, like, there's no one who can be like, hey, I'd like to deposit this. I got to drive an hour away to do that, and it sucks. So I'm stuck with stupid big banks at the moment. I hope maybe I should see if we can create a credit union in my town, Bainbridge Credit Union, and it can just run itself. I don't know, but yeah, probably best bet to get into credit unions and investigate the credit unions that do not have a giant liability on car loans, because we've actually seen some credit unions go under based upon them just giving car loans to anyone. And right now, cars are so expensive that people are defaulting on their car loans at just obscene rates. And so, Joyce Miami, he can point that to you. He's a banker, so he knows what that's all about. So if you're going to go for a credit union, try to see if you can investigate how much liability they have on car loans, because that is what will take the credit unions down. Kelly Reed, everyone ready for the tariffs coming? Hearing lots of people buying tech early before it hits. Wild times ahead. Trump will make this crash worse. I spent too much time arguing with a guy on our subreddit who didn't really seem to understand what tariffs were. And I kept trying to explain to him that tariffs are just going to make things more expensive or allow for Chinese companies to undercut us in ways we never thought possible. And so let's say you're a manufacturer of something. You make, widgets, right? And your widgets are made out of aluminum. And you import your aluminum from foundries in China because you get it for, 10% less a unit than you would in the US. All of a sudden, that aluminum comes in and you're paying 100% tariff on it. So now it's 90% more expensive than the US. So you're like, oh, I will buy these from the US. Well, guess what? Your costs still went up 10%. So your widget's going to cost more, which causes 10% inflation in the end. Ta-da, inflation, right? If you are a Chinese widget manufacturer and you sell things to Walmart or Amazon or your local, I don't know, fishing store or whatever, when they bring those products in, there's going to be 100% tariff on it. So it's going to be twice as expensive to buy them from China. So people are like, oh, well, then the American manufacturers will just supply them. Well, there's a lot of things that American manufacturers just don't make. Why? Because we had a factory that made it. We disassembled the factory. We put it on a ship. We sent it to Shanghai and then reassembled the factory. Now a bunch of Chinese people are making it. What is not going to happen is China disassembling that factory, putting it on a ship, taking it back to the United States, and rebuilding the factory and starting it up again. That's a 4 or 5 year process. And it's just not going to happen. It's going to stay over there. It's not coming here. Right? And so we just will be paying the premium on these things. Or what could also happen is the Chinese company that makes the widget opens up a wholly owned subsidiary here inside the United States. Let's say the widget is something fancy and technical and it costs $100 a unit wholesale, right? So if you're shipping it in and selling that to a Walmart, whatever, it's now going to cost $200 with the tariff. Well, this Chinese wholly owned subsidiary pays 10 cents a unit. And they ship it in and they end up paying another 10 cents in tariff. And they go, oh, I paid 20 cents for that. And then they sell it themselves and undercut the entire U.S. market and all of the U.S. retailers. And they can sell that thing on the market cheaper than anyone in the U.S. can manufacture it. How can they do that? Citizens United. Any company that forms here in the United States is a U.S. citizen. Doesn't matter who owns it. How do I know? Because mining companies use it all the time to skirt the 1872 mining law. It is illegal for a non-resident foreign national to own a mineral claim on federal land in the United States. But we have Rio Tinto and Uranium One and huge multinational companies that are based in Spain and Chile and Russia, right? That own mineral claims on federal land here in the United States. How? Because they created a wholly owned subsidiary, gave them an address here in the U.S., and according to Citizens United, they are now a citizen of the United States, and they can own and control mineral claims despite the 1872 mining law stating explicitly that they cannot because they're foreigners. That is how the Russians control Uranium One in Wyoming, the largest uranium mine in the U.S., because they created a citizen by just submitting some documents and congratulations, it's a baby conglomerate. Thank you, Supreme Court, you fucking douchebags. You ruin everything. And that's what China's probably going to do. Is they're probably going to create some gigantic retailers here in the United States, undercut everybody and destroy all these American businesses based on that alone. They can either destroy them by making them pay the tariff, or they can destroy them by undercutting them through their wholly owned subsidiary. So my guess is the drop shippers like Temu will probably just move their warehouses into the U.S. They'll ship everything in mass to those warehouses and then sell everything for pennies on the dollar directly to people that way. So, welcome to the future. It's fucked up. Yeah. Okay. Marcella Giordano, Houston. Happy birthday. Any updates on BBBY? Since getting off X, it's been almost radio silence. The latest things I've seen is basically the court telling MJL to eat a bag, that they're annoyed with him and they want him gone and to shut up forever. Outside of that, nothing concrete or firm. So, twiddle. Keep twiddling. Don't stop twiddling. Twiddle away. You are a thumb twiddler for now and forever. Kevin, so much for the options play this week. Ugh, indeed. Ugh. Maybe option 3 happened. They refused to do any of the buying they were required to by law today, and then tomorrow they'll be forced to buy and we'll get lucky. If not, well, womp womp. Indeed. Robert Hurt. There's a new knuckleballer in town, San Diego, I think, coming up through the minors. We'll find out in spring training. I like myself some knuckleballers. And I think every pitcher should be a knuckleballer, personally. Everyone can throw 97 miles an hour. I want to see people get their knees buckled and fall over. That's what I want. And Robert Hurt, what's the latest on the lease renewal? Any good news? I've not heard if they've gotten any documents from the university lands regarding what Hudspeth has demanded from them with Freedom of Information Act request. So, as far as I know, no progress has been made there. Chris Taylor, as an old man, I was so hoping for old man strength to triumph. Oh, talking about the Tyson match. It was the most boring boxing match in history. It was so boring. The first 2 rounds were like, oh, Mike Tyson's going to knock this fucker out. And then all of a sudden, Mike Tyson just stood there for 6 rounds getting punched in the face every once in a while. And kind of going like this. My guess is that when he landed that huge jab and almost knocked Jake over, he was like, oh, I fucked up. I wasn't supposed to do that. And then he just sort of stood there to make his $20 million. Apparently, he's $23 million in debt. He lost $400 million over the last few years. And this makes a great step towards paying back that debt he owes. So I wouldn't be surprised if you see him show up again in one more boxing match. But it was the most boring boxing match I've ever seen in my entire life. More boring than somebody who gets knocked out in the first 2 seconds. Just watching like someone just stand there, like bite their glove and just stand there, was his training videos were 1,000 times more exciting. And just like if Jake Paul was there standing there in the training video, Mike Tyson would have murdered him. But the minute it became like a real fight, Mike Tyson's like, oh, I'm just not going to throw any punches. I'm just going to stand here and barely bob and weave. And it was so boring. So boring. 30 minutes of boring. Lame. First, like, big fight, I get to see this not pay-per-view, and it's the most boring thing in the entire world. And it was all, like, in 480p. If you're lucky. Daniel Motes, Houston. I think now is time for calls for GME. I have an inkling. Usually my inklings are wrong, though, so I'm actually buying puts. Chad says GME is the way, the only way, not financial advice. Brandon Wells is supping. Why, Tyler? Where's my baby? I don't know. We were all excited because we thought Buck the Bunny was going to do something cool, and then Buck the Bunny just ended up being another just, oh, cool promotions. Ryan Cohen. We are over 4 years into when you purchased your massive amount of shares, and we've not seen the kill shot that basically we've been getting promised. That you're this genius who is going to uproot and change everything, and so far that nothing's happened. Like, I don't know, go buy Beyond, buy them out. You can buy their entire company for like $500 million right now. Just buy them. Done. Poof. Right? Nothing to do about it. Just hostile takeover. Done. Cool. I mean, between you and GME, you could both buy up 20% of that company, have 40%, almost a controlling interest, and I'm sure, everyone else will just kind of go your way once you can't throw your weight around. Make them a subsidiary at this point. Do something. Do anything. We are so bored. You are like Mike Tyson's fight. Do something. Bite an ear. Low blow. I don't know. Something interesting. Just anything at all. I'm bored. And I'd like to make a shitload of money. So if I need to, I have the privilege to GTFO out of this place before the shitstorm that's coming. Dead Bass. What are the odds of getting pre-boxing match locker room interviews banned during the next administration? We'll have to show bare ass. Pretty good. What, Tyler? Do you really think Trump getting elected had anything to do with the play? Seems coincidental that RC and Pulte are both beside him with ICANN saying merger acquisitions more likely to Trump. I don't know at this point. Merger acquisitions are definitely more likely to Trump because they would have somebody at the FTC who will let anything happen. That's why. Pulte is pushing for HUD secretary. He's donated enough; he'll probably get it. But it'll I suspect a really interesting time in the Senate confirmation hearing, because Pulte's got some rather gross things on the internet. I don't know if you've seen the recording of him being really gross to Amy, just drunk, being gross to Amy. So things like that can get brought up. They'll still get confirmed, but it'll be embarrassing for him. I don't think DJT or anything is involved with GameStop or any other stuff. If it is, it's just run. Turns out that DJT owns a huge chunk of GameStop. You don't want it, or vice versa. You don't want anything to do with that guy's investments. You will get burned. No one has ever made money off of Trump. They just haven't. They've lost money, they've sued, and then couldn't afford the lawsuits. That's the only way Trump has ever won lawsuits. Every other time he gets sued, if he gets sued by people with money, he loses. Because his lawyers are terrible, and B, he's scamming them, and it's very obvious. The people who he wins lawsuits against are poor people. Like plumbing contractors, electricians and stuff, who he doesn't pay. And they're out millions of dollars to begin with because he never paid them for fulfilling their contractual duties. And so they sue, but not enough money to keep paying their lawyers. And eventually the whole case just goes, ugh. And that's the only way he's ever won cases in his entire life. Whenever he's been up against a formidable attorney who is either doing it pro bono or has cash behind them, he gets his butt kicked. So he's a fraudster. And maybe he finally will win out and own the courts and suck so much money out of the treasury and other billionaires in this economy that he'll be like a Vladimir Putin and there'll be no challenging him ever again. I think that's his goal. But, yeah, I just don't want anything to do with that. Derek Horse, Crumb Man, look up the definition of false hope, make Crumb Man sad. We're not even getting crumbs right now. The crumbs have stopped. They've turned off the crumb valve at this point there, Derek. Well, Tyler, part of me thinks Pulte is hype train writer preying on the community. Part of me thinks he might be legit, not a fan of Trump, but it does seem like there might be some political sway here. Probably, yes, you curry favor with politicians by donating their campaigns a whole bunch of times. And that's how you get in. Now you got to figure out how to not be tainted by that dirt for the rest of your life. Crane Green, 48th. Juice Mammy SCMI story is so wild. Jim Cramer talking it up, giving out Bear Stearns vibe. Yeah. GDC. A lot of people on Twitter hyping up BBBY news by Thanksgiving. At this point, I don't hold my breath anymore. Hype dates. I think I was chatting with Casey Chapman. The hype dates don't mean anything anymore. It's because it's like a doomsday cult. Every doomsday cult in existence has predicted the end of the world at a specific date, and every doomsday cult has been wrong. So I just don't. Until I see an actual filing with an actual date in it, I can go, cool, Thanksgiving, woo, and then Thanksgiving passes and nothing happens, and we're just back to right, little kitty. You haven't even been alive. You're 3 months old, so you've been alive for about 10 hype dates so far. Yeah. Oh, you tiny little cat. Snort alert. Oh, Houston. SMCI new auditor is the same that did Tether's fake audit. It's BDO. And Tether didn't even get an audit. Tether had an attestation, meaning they handed the accountant, these are what we claim, and the accountant goes, yes, this is what you claim. Done. Stamp. So yeah, SMCI is a total scam. Snurler. Oh yeah, there's that one. Why Tyler? What a shirt. What a shirt indeed. It is also very stretchy. Huge unit. Be right back. Gotta get sunglasses for the shirt. Jimmy D. Shirt is sexy as fuck. Jimmy D. Houston. I'm moving to Portland from Southern California. Gonna be closer to you relatively. You will. Just one 4-hour train ride away, Jimmy D. Snurler. Houston. Oh fuck, is that a shiny shirt? Christian's World. Hey, do live in Houston? Oh, do live in Houston? No, my name is Houston. I live in the Seattle area. Frozen Productions. If gravity didn't exist, would life be possible? Probably not, because then there wouldn't be planets, and there would be no density in the universe. So no, I don't think if gravity didn't exist, I don't think life would be possible. Even life on land probably isn't possible without a moon. Because life forms in the oceans originally, right? You get water and all the other bits to allow for the formation of life. And because the moon exists, where's tides, so that you had life in these tidal areas where sometimes there was water and sometimes there wasn't. And are you coming over here? All right, come on over here, little buddy. Just flip-it-a-roo, just like that. Oh, you want to go somewhere? Is that what's happening? Well, you're gonna get pet until then. And so without the like tidal areas and estuaries, things like that, I don't think life would have ever evolved to come onto land, or at least not in a time frame that made it possible for, say, big cabeza apes to develop any intelligence. And that's probably where we'd be. So yes, gravity is very important, I think, to creating life, especially life in shiny shirt world such as we live. Kevin says Houston lives in Washington. I do. Michael Steegs, Houston. What happens to Omex? Are they not allowed to tell about the millions they made? It's weird, right? They filed their 10Q, but they didn't do an official earnings report yet. They filed the paperwork. We can look up. Let's see here. Omex Edgar SEC. I see marine exploration. Yeah, they filed an 8K. They filed a 10K. Annual meeting was back in April. I've not heard anything about an official earnings report yet coming out. So the stock is like, it's at 37 cents or something right now. It's weird. The whole thing is weird. Life is weird in general. Life is a lot of like, I expected this, and then I saw that, and it didn't make any sense. And then you just go through life with that never making sense again. I don't know how to explain it to you. I'm sure the people at Odyssey Marine don't know how to explain it to you either. Whoop. Oh, crap. Just lost my chat. Okay, one sec. Gotta scroll up. B-dubs, 2860 might be a good place to take profits on options. That seems to be kind of the ceiling. The last week we hit right around there twice, right? Once on, what, Monday and again on Friday. We touched above 28, I think, on Thursday. But yeah, it's yeah. BFH, any update on MTOP? Haven't heard anything about Rosa's case in a while. Hope she's okay. I have heard nothing from Rosa in what, like 8-9 months. So the last time she actually wrote me back was, I think, in April, saying, hey, or maybe March, and she's like, hey, Ramadan's over on April 14th or something, let's do a show then. So I waited till Ramadan's over and I messaged her and then never heard anything, and that's that. So I don't know, I have no idea what she's up to. I have no idea what status her case is in. I know she got married, and that's it. That's all I know. But other than that, nothing new in MMTLP. I'm gonna try to have Drew Diligence on in December. He's been talking to a lot of members of Congress about MMTLP situation and seems pretty confident they're gonna get a resolution next month. I would love for that to happen, but I have no such confidence. So maybe he can hype me up. But we'll have him on the show in December, and we'll talk about that. Oh, and reminder, we're gonna have Salvatore is gonna be on Wednesday, so we're gonna talk to him at 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific. So that's when we're gonna do that. Josh Odden, so calls on Domino's Pizza. I don't even know what that means. Kevin, how does Netflix stock go up? Yeah, by like having the worst live event since, I don't know, 1999 on the internet. Faster than light, 9884. Strange that they keep finding counties where many people voted down party lines except for the presidential vote. Is this probable? No, it is not. But from all appearances, no one's doing anything about it. So, welcome in our new autocrats. Seagill per ticker? I think you retracted a message and then corrected it, but I don't see what it is. Avant Green. OCC killed the Gamma with their new rule change. Well, they did have the rule change that was like, hey, you don't have to provide the shares if you don't want to. So maybe, but we were seeing the Gamma from the previous 2 weeks. So, like this week, all of a sudden, everyone decides not to fulfill their obligations. All of a sudden, when they were doing it before. Yeah. Pinnacle Photography, Paul Marcus take a bets whether Houston will nuke the subreddit, start over to maintain its sanity. Let's just look at this real quick, because we go there, we go to the subreddit, we go bam, we go to mod tools, and I think the first thing that pops up is the queue. Okay, this is the current queue, and I've added a couple of people since then. And let's just see how long. Next page. How many pages do we have? Does it say up here? It does not. It just says, 1 through 25 of 1,083 pages. This is the queue at the moment. So I have 1,083 pages of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. So I have over 25,000 things currently flagged for removal. When I was doing this full time, the most I could do was 8,900 in a week. And that was causing me to lose so much weight. I literally, there's not enough hours in the day. Like, I would need to dedicate probably 10,000 mods just to take care of this. And that alone would take so much time to deputize that many people. We're over 24,000 in the subreddit at the moment. How many are we at? Show me. Oops, no, I don't want to be in the mod queue anymore. We're at 24,000 members. 24,000. Last Monday, we were at 11,000. So 13,000 people joined in 7 days. Hopefully, some of them are coming in and watching the show. But right now, it's like beyond my control. So if I read a thread and I see things that just piss me off, I take care of them. But I don't even have the stomach to hit the mod queue and scroll through that. I just don't have the physical ability to do that. There's not enough time in the day. It takes so much time to delete, probably 5 to 10 seconds per deletion, right? And that's like weeks worth of work. I don't have it in me, man. I don't have it in me. Okay. Just Mammy, 2 underwater cable cuts should be lead stories on mainstream media. Yeah, so the Russians were like, hey, we think the Americans are going to cut some cables. And then they had their little spy ships and cable cutting ships lingering over cables. And then magically, 2 cables got cut. The Russians are so bad at false flags. They're absolutely terrible. But conversely, Biden called up Zelensky and was like, hey, baby, use all the ATACMs you want wherever you want. And then the Germans, the French, the British are sending them all their ATACMs too. And expect anything within 300-400 kilometers of the Ukrainian border to be absolutely vaporized. And if they happen to gain any more in Kursk, then Moscow will be in range. They don't have to go that much further into Kursk to get Moscow in range with ATACMs. So, yeah, it's if I were Biden, I would just give the Ukrainians whatever they want in these last 2 months. I'd give them like 10 nukes. Give the Ukrainians 10 nukes and say, do whatever you want with them. They're yours. We are so sorry that we made you give them up in 1991. And then let the Russians be like, ooh. Right? Hey, level that playing field. I have no problem with it. Hotbag Rebel, the amount of edging PP is doing is borderline mental abuse. So much we won victory laps, but I check my account and it's still 0. I would like to see something come of anything at all. You know, your shares are back and they're 1 cent. I'd be happier with that than nothing. Just give me something. A teeny piece. Just a little, a meal of some kind. Javier HRZ, are we close to World War III? I think with the incoming administration, if World War III happens, we will be on the wrong side of it. I think we'll be on the Russia side of World War III with Putin and the other axis of evil. So yeah, we might be heading towards World War III, but we'll be like dying under orders from Putin, most likely. Murph and Turf Studios, happy birthday, Houston. You look like you're ready for a night the Roxbury that shirt. I am. What is love? Baby, don't hurt me. Seagill, SMCI just needed to file a plan to avoid delisting, which they did. That's why they're up $8 in the aftermarket. Oh, they're up again in the aftermarket? I didn't even look at their price today. What do we got here? SMCI price. They are. They hit $30 aftermarket today. So they filed something. All right. Well, baby steps, I guess. Hotpock Rebel, do you have any contact with Jake 2B? He was sitting on the couch eating ice cream months ago. What gives time for him to explain himself? Has he been bullshitting us the whole time? I have a feeling Jake may be under an NDA. He's not said if he is or not. Hooden, what's his butt? He does all the Pacer posts. He announced that he's on NDA, so there's some things he can't talk about. I have evidence of an individual on an NDA. I think there are several people in the community who are, and they can be like, oh, there's certain things they can talk about because they're in legal filings, but there's things they specifically cannot talk about due to that NDAs that they're under. We'll see what Sal has to say on Wednesday. Maybe he'll bring Jake along like he did last year. We'll see. Adam Davey, Max Payne explanation was excellent. Thanks. You rock. Oh, my pleasure. Chris Taylor, make payable to Doge. B Dizzle, I would love if Biden did that and I don't even have any student debt. Yeah, just like, again, I'm of the philosophy that we create society to make everyone's lives better. That university educations should not be an obstacle for folks. That if you want to get a university education, you can go get a university education. I'm okay with that. No tuition, You even get a stipend so that you can live and not have to work like full time and miss classes and things like that. Because it's important for us to have an educated population. Very important for us to have an educated population. But a certain element, political element inside our country, does not do very well if people are educated. They need people to be dumb, because it's easier for them to pull the wool over the eyes of those folks and win their elections and do whatever it is they want to do with their power. So there's a constant battle going on between folks who want to make education more accessible and better, and folks who want to make education worse and call the money out of it because it gives them a political base. So we're just forever in this like back and forth between, we should have people be smart. No, we to keep them dumb as possible. And the dumbest possible folks are winning. They are definitely winning right now. And the dumbest possible people, their reasoning is like, hey, why should I pay for your education? Well, because that's how it works. You pay for K through 12, right? And that costs $10,000 to $20,000 a year per child. So why not extend that through college so that we can get people, we get expertise. We can get folks who are experts in fields that we need. We need folks who can engineer and design and invent and, account and run businesses and, do art. And like, we need those folks to be experts in these fields because we need doctors and lawyers and everything else. And if we make it so that only the rich can go to school, because school is so expensive, they need to take out a giant bunch of loans that you can never afford to pay back, then we're going to remove the meritocracy from this nation, which is one of the driving factors that makes America what it is that we have some semblance of meritocracy where you can pluck somebody from a poor situation who's really intelligent, and you can put them into a school setting where they can flourish and achieve and accomplish and improve their life of themselves and of their entire family, bringing along generations with them, right? And if we make it so that those poor folks never have the opportunity to go to college because we make it so expensive that loans are a cumbersome hurdle that can never be cleared from their lives, then only rich people can go to school. And that is medieval Europe, where only the rich got educated. And everyone else was stuck, like, I don't know, shoveling mud or whatever that it is the peasants did. And I'd like to think that as a society we've advanced beyond that point. But apparently, judging from the most recent election, we would rather have medieval Europe shoveling mud for everybody, because the belief that somehow one of those mud shovelers will get anointed and become an order giver to the mud shovelers. And it's just not going to happen. You're mud shovelers. That's all you are. It's all I am. It's all we'll ever be under this system. So unless we rise up and take on the feudal lords, we're going to be stuck in this system forever. And yay. Naomi Wolf, do you think we will see major price action tomorrow? Biden doing absolutely nothing is disappointing. I don't know. If we don't see anything tomorrow, I'm just going to get rid of my options as a loss and start all over again. So that's where we are. I don't know when the next catalyst could be. If Roaring Kitty had tweeted last night, this stock price would have been at $40 today. But yeah. Just Mammy, work, ? Oh crap. Yes, I do have to go to work. Short show today. If things go wild tomorrow, I may do a show. If things are kind of meh tomorrow, I probably won't. And then I'll see you guys on Wednesday for when Salvador comes on. Thank you, Julius. I totally would just kept going and then not done work. Regular intro, bam. Outro, I guess.